Let's go back over the proper way to mount. What's up guys? I'm Lissy. If it looks like I'm crying, it's because there's a really bright orb in the sky that is burning my eyeballs. It's making it very hard to look at you right now. Last summer I did a video on 5 do not do's with your horse, and one of those things was mounting poorly and how to mount properly. And that short turned into probably my most popular video on my whole channel. And because of that, I got a lot of comments and a lot of people misunderstanding, not understanding, just saying to use a mounting block and stuff. So many comments just saying, mounting block, use a mounting block, why not a mounting block? A mounting block could fix this problem, whatever. And nowhere in that video did I say that you shouldn't use a mounting block or that it was a substitute for using a mounting block. It was that if you were going to mount from the ground, the way I showed was the proper way to mount. But apparently you have to be very specific and mark all of the boxes, otherwise people will come for you for the things that you did not say, even though it was kind of apparent that that's the way it is, but okay. Anyways, I want to be more clear, more specific, and cover all the boxes this time. And I have a few things that I didn't mention in my last video because I was just being quick with the 5, things. So, number 1, I'm not saying that this is a substitute for using a mounting block. If you have a mounting block, use one. If you like using a mounting block better, use one. If your horse is too tall to mount from the ground, use a mounting block. If you think that it's better for your horse, use a mounting block. Now that we got that out of the way, guinea hen, guinea hen, guinea hen, guinea hen, quiet. Please ignore the screaming vulture in the background. So the common mounting mistake I see a lot is people will grab the horn and the cantle, put their foot in the stirrup, bounce, and pull themselves up with the saddle. And I don't even like demonstrating it because I know how bad it can be. Now, the reason that this is bad is because you're grabbing the saddle and you're pulling it towards yourself while you're putting all your weight in the stirrup. So you're taking the whole saddle and you're twisting it this way as you get on. You're not dispersing your weight anywhere evenly, it's just bam on this side of the saddle. So a saddle is designed so that it disperses the weight through the longissimus muscle on the horse's back. You do not want your saddle putting any pressure on the horse's spine or withers area. The whole support area is supposed to be on the longissimus muscle. And a saddle is usually designed like this. And you have an open channel up here that allows free movement of the spine. So you're not putting any pressure on the spine or the muscle that runs along the spine, which is called the multifidus muscle. And that is a super sensitive muscle and you do not want to put any weight on it whatsoever. Also, the wither area is another very sensitive group of muscles that you do not want to touch, and your saddle is supposed to be designed so it's not putting any pressure ever on the withers area. So when you go to mount like this and you pull the saddle towards yourself, you're now taking the tree that is this side of the saddle and you have the horse's withers and you're pulling it so that it's pushing against the spine and the withers to pull you up. So now you're putting all the weight on the side of the saddle, so it's pushing and twisting the saddle on the withers and the spine to pull you up. So practically all of your weight is going to be on that multifidus muscle, the group of muscles around the withers area, and the spine, which is really bad. And a lot of people say that I've been doing this with my horse for a long time and never see any pain reaction and stuff. But a pain reaction is not always something that you would suspect it to be. And maybe it's not a reaction that you would be looking for as a pain reaction. It could just be something like them lifting their head up, or their ears going back, or their tail swishing, or them trying to bite you, or maybe things that would be labeled as naughty or bratty behavior. Those are all signs of pain that get written off as naughty behavior. So maybe your horse is showing signs of pain and you just don't realize it. And it could be also a growing pain that the more you do it, the more uncomfortable your horse gets and the more the pain becomes chronic. Another reason that this style of mounting can be very harmful is because every saddle has a tree, unless it's a treeless saddle, which I would recommend looking into that because I thought that treeless saddles were good too, but looking into them more, they're not actually as good as you might think. But anyways, mostly every saddle has a tree. Every treed saddle has a tree. And sometimes the trees are made out of wood or metal or even plastic. And every one of those materials can bend, twist, crack, snap. And this can happen when you mount by pulling yourself up by the horn and the cantle. Because you're putting all of your weight onto the tree when you're holding onto the horn. And again, the tree is stopping itself by pushing against the withers and the spine. And so then you get that twisting action, and over time it can twist, bend, snap, crack, whatever. And a broken tree is obviously a done saddle. And if you don't realize that it's broken, you can cause a lot of damage on your horse's back. And yeah, it's really not good. And obviously we spend a lot of money on our tack and our saddles and stuff. So we want to increase the longevity of it by taking care of it properly and not being really hard and aggressive on it and twisting it and whatever. So, and another reason that this style of mounting could be bad is because you're putting your hand on the cantle of the saddle, and when you go to pull yourself up, you now have to take your hand off of the saddle in order to get your leg around. So you're holding on with only one hand at that time. And so yeah, it's it's not great. So the way I do it, the way I recommend doing it is you put your hand on the horse's neck and you're not twisting it, pulling it towards yourself. I've saw a lot of people saying that isn't it painful on the horse's neck? Can't you snap their neck by doing that or whatever? No, you can't, because we're not pulling it or anything. We're just assisting ourselves by pushing down on the neck. And then our other hand, sometimes I put it on the far side of the pommel. Other times I put it flat on the saddle and I just push myself up. I'm not pulling or anything. And by doing that, I am keeping the saddle in place and I'm dispersing my weight through the saddle more instead of just being locally in just one stirrup. So it helps keep the saddle from twisting and distributes my weight more evenly when I'm mounting instead of just one side of the saddle. So hand on the neck, hand on the saddle, or far side of the pommel, doesn't matter. If your horse is tall, you probably won't be able to reach the far side of the pommel. So flat hand on the seat of the saddle, and you're just going to push up. Also, I mount facing this way, because if you can't mount facing this way, if your horse is gonna kick you, if it's gonna run away or something while you're mounting, then I don't think that horse is ready to be mounted. And I don't think going right here and bouncing all the way over here is any different than just starting right here, hopping up and on. I try to hug them as much as possible. I put my knee facing their head and I just up and over as fast as possible. Less than 2 seconds to get on. Now if I was mounting this way and I hop, I wouldn't be able to pull myself as close to the horse. And again, I don't like doing that, so I should stop doing that, sorry. I also get people saying that I need to hold my reins while I mount because it's dangerous because my horse could run away with me or whatever. You need control of the head as soon as you get on. So if you're worried about that, just grab the reins like so. Now hold the neck. I do both, but my horse, as you can see, is not going to run away. You can also have them turn their head into you. Good girl. And you can mount this way. Good. I have other videos going over how to keep your horse still while mounting and stuff, so you can go watch those if you want or if you're curious or you have issues with that. I'm sure there'll be somebody still misunderstanding or taking something out of context, but you know, I can't get away without those kind of comments. And another comment I got quite a lot was that I can only mount the way I do because my horse is short and I'm tall. And I did a video for that last fall where I put my horse up on a hill and I mounted her. I estimated she was probably 18 hands high and I was still able to mount her with this method. The only way you can't mount from the ground is if you're actually too short to reach the stirrup or too short to reach the neck of the horse. In that case, you need a mounting block. If you're ever going to mount from the ground like this and you're going to mount your horse, then just do it like this. Hand on the neck, hand on the flat seat of the saddle or the back side, far side of the pommel. In my opinion, it's easier to mount like this because the neck is closer to the ground than the horn, so you have less of a reach. Unless you're just too short to mount your horse, then don't come for me and say that I can only do it because my horse is short. If your horse is too tall, get a mounting block. Again, this is not a substitute for a mounting block. It's just if you're going to mount from the ground, don't hurt your horse in the process. I probably missed something, but my eyes are watering. I cannot keep them open anymore because that sun is just too bright. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, give it a big like and subscribe. You can go follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday. Bye. Go horsey.